Well, welcome back to my wee local river. It feels like I've been away for ages. In fact, checking the previous videos, it's been a full 3 weeks since I fished here. And if you've been here to witness some of the floods we've had, you wouldn't be surprised. It's been unprecedented for the time of year. But back again, and we'll see how it goes. I'm quite high up on the river, on the angling club's stretch of the river, and to be honest with you, I would rather be further downstream. But you just have to go downstream about a mile from here, and the water's much siltier. It's clearer up here. Not clear, but clearer. So I've rigged up with a couple of nymphs. I'll fish away with that for a while and see how it goes. If I see any rising fish, which I would think is not very likely, I'll switch to dries. And as I say, we'll just see how it goes. I'm puffing and panting like an old man, but there's a perfectly good explanation for that. I am an old man. Most of Scotland right now is basking in unbroken sunshine. It's very pleasant and warm. Here, it's not exactly cold, but we do have an east coast har. But I'm expecting it's going to burn off quite soon, and hopefully it'll get a bit warmer. We shall see. Those of you who have watched some of the previous videos will maybe recognise this spot here, but you won't have seen it as high as this. In actual fact, the water is much murkier than I thought it was going to be. It looked not too bad for the distance. Well, I'm beginning to have serious doubts about this, because this river is much higher and dirtier than I thought it was going to be. I think it needs another few days to run off a bit more. And I'm wading here, waist deep in water that normally doesn't get up to my knees. But we'll just try in the slacker water anyway and see how it goes. There's a few flies hatching, but no sign of any fish rising as yet. Oh, a lively wee fella. Come on then. And that's him back. Well, that's encouraging. But I might just switch over to the dry fly soon anyway. Put something really big and obvious on. Oh, that's another fish there. Maybe I'll just stick to the nymph. Yeah, they seem to be lying in the slack water between myself and the main current, which makes sense with this amount of flow. I was kind of swithering whether to bother coming out today. Kind of keen to go out fishing again, but the grey leaden skies weren't very encouraging. Yeah, the last two floods we had were quite extraordinary. You know, where I am now, up this bank here, this had all been underwater. This was just a huge loch, this whole area. You often wonder how the fish, what the fish do in conditions like that. I mean, where do they go? I guess they must just tuck themselves in any shelter that they can find. And then just fall back into their normal spots as the water drops. But it's still at least a foot above normal at the moment. But it should be good once it drops another 6 inches or so and get a wee bit more clarity into the water, because it is still quite murky. I'm a great believer in dead clear water for fly fishing. Probably do well with the worm right now. Now the $64,000 question. Will I get across here without falling in? My goodness, the current is strong. But I've got my trusty walking pole with me. The sign of an aging angler. You need a stick. I made it. Woohoo! Oh, I just saw another fish rise there. I'm just going to fish up this edge, because I can't see there'll be many fish out in that main current. Oh! I mean, look at this river now, this tiny wee river. It's hard to imagine floods like the two we've just had being possible. A tiny wee lowland river. It really was quite incredible, the volume of water that was coming down here. And yet further west, the rivers are all pretty low. I was up hill walking in the Cairngorms on Friday, and I was expecting all the rivers to be uncrossable, but no. It's pretty much normal summer levels, and that was just the Braemar area. So you didn't have to go very far west to escape the deluge. It was definitely an East Coast phenomenon. Well, I normally cross here and fish this from the other side, but there is no way I'm attempting that today. I just saw another fish rising in here. I think I'm going to switch over to the dry fly, because the nymphs aren't exactly pulling them out. Alright, that's me rigged up. Got something quite big on. And you'll see that size 10 elk hair caddis. Probably not just the classical choice for here at this time of the year, but it's big and bright, and hopefully the fish will at least be able to see it. I'm beginning to wish I hadn't crossed this river, because I really need to get onto the other bank to fish these lies properly. I'm having a heck of a job finding a safe place to cross. Bear in mind that normally you could cross this in wellies. I might go over up here. My goodness me. One slip here and you're at Lunan Bay. Nope, I can't get across. But it doesn't look like the pools that I normally fish are fishable anyway. So there isn't really much point. I'll probably have to resort to plan B, which is go back down and try to find a few fishable spots just a wee bit further down. So this is likely to be a short day today. Floods dumped a load of timber up here on the banks. Unfortunately, it's also totally wiped out the sand martin colonies. They must have been under a foot of water. It's a damned shame. I just hope they had eggs and not chicks. Bloody shame. They were all down this from point there. They were on this bank here. There's not a single bird in the area that I've seen so far anyway. Damned shame. Well, maybe I'm speaking too soon, or is that swallows? That's swallows, I think. But they might nest again. Now once again I'm on the wrong side of the current here. But that's got to be a first for me for this wee river, not being able to cross it. Right, time to execute Plan C. So Plan C, which wasn't really a plan, it's kind of made up in the hoof. I'll go back down to the place where I could cross back over and then come back up the other side. You know, I was wrong about these sand martins. They're still there, loads of them. But it's not possible that the nest survived, so hopefully that's them having a second go. Because this was all under, I mean, the nests are down in this bank here. And this was all underwater. This was a huge loch. Right up to these bushes and above. Yeah, they're still flying in and out, so maybe they're having another go. Good for them, poor wee birds. Right, I'll have a wee go in here. I suspect this elk here, Caris, is probably just a touch on the big side. You have to swap out for something a wee bit smaller. What wind there is at least blowing upstream, so it means I can get away with some pretty shady casting here. Oh, I just saw a fish rise, but it was a real sprat. Or should I say a real bandy. In the east of Scotland here, bandy is a generic term for any small fish. I think it comes from minnow originally, because if you think of it, minnows have got bands on them, long bands, longitudinal bands. I think that's where the term bandy comes from. But here in the Arbroath area, any small fish is a bandy, even a cod. Yeah, not getting much interest in this elk here, Caris. I'll have to swap it out for something a wee bit smaller. Right, I've left the elk here, Caris, on as a tail fly, and stuck a dropper on with a wee olive pattern, and that's erased it straight away. If I hadn't been blethering to the camera, I wouldn't have missed that. Now, can Old Faithful spot here give me a fish, or is it too high? Oh, that's one had a good slash at the elk here, Caris there, but it's either I'm too slow or the fly was too big to get into the fish's mouth, maybe. Yeah, that's the excuse. It's an awkward wind, actually. It just keeps pushing my flies back across the stream towards me. No, I think it's just a bit on the high side here. Devil of a job getting a decent drift. Oh, missed him. Just caught that out the corner of my eye there, rising. Covered him and he came up, but I missed him again. My goodness me, it fits. Oh, there we go, that one, no. an embarrassing number of fish I've missed. It's a real totty wee thing. And back you go. And that was right hard in at the edge. Well, it's lovely and warm now. But I think the river really does need another 2 or 3 days just to run off a wee bit more, and it should be perfect, assuming we don't get any more rain. I might come down again tomorrow and have another go. I mean, I just live over there. Kind of lucky to have this river within walking distance of my house. Right, I'll have a quick check up at the corner pool, but I think it'll probably be too fast. Oh my goodness, that was a better one, which I totally missed as well. That slashed at the Elk Caddis. Question is, will it be stupid enough to come back for another go? Doesn't look like it. Okay, see, I missed another one, my God. What am I doing? Well, I half expected a fish here, but they're just completely dead. Right, I'll have a few casts in here. In higher water, this can sometimes be quite a good bit. He's tuck it straight hard at the edge. Oh. Oh, it's off. Well, it saved me clambering down the bank to wet my hand. Oh, I saw that one rising. Again, just out the corner of my eye. Well, they're not very big, but they are in stunningly good condition. My goodness me. Looks like a better fish there. Oh, was a bit missed them. It was a bit of a half-hearted take, actually. Quite a few fish rising in here now. I think I've managed to put those fish down. Well, we'll have a wee shot in here and then call it a day, I think. I just saw a fish rise further up there. I don't think it was a very big one. But then that description covers most of the fish here. This fish just rose under that tree. I just wonder what the chances are of me covering it without ending up in the tree. Well, I think I'll make this my last cast, because there's not much happening at all now. The water's still just a tad high and a tad dirty. I can't see the bottom. I can barely see the bottom here, which isn't ideal. But it was good fun, so I'll just call it a day at that. Maybe come back down again in a couple of days, but just as I say that, I see a Fisher ice, which I've got to have a chuck over. To no avail. So, I'll close the video there. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Whenever that may be, perhaps in a couple of days.